Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to episode 558 of the DrunkNerds podcast. As always, I'm Tyler, and joining me, we have the man, the myth, the legend himself, Sir Colonel Gables. What is up, buddy?
I'll tell you what, man, I am doing pretty good at this moment in time. Still kind of digesting a lot of the stuff from like that Microsoft showcase,
Yeah.
but at the same point, it's like it's making me more excited about Starfield.
Oh,
But
yeah.
other than that, man, how are you doing?
I'm exhausted, Gables, and I don't know why. I tried to take a nap for several hours after the showcase. I think I had like a crash because I drank that whole Trent of Starbucks coffee during the show, and I think I just had a hard crash a couple hours later, and I just couldn't take a nap. But no, I'm doing pretty good. We're, both of us actually not like planned. We're just on vacation this coming week, so that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So that's been kind of nice. I'm gonna play a bunch of games, and I gotta go over and take care of a sick doggo. But other than that, it's gonna be nice just not being at work, relaxing stuff like that. It's supposed to be pretty nice out this week. But anyways, Summer Game Fest time, everybody. So if you're listening, watching, whatever, really appreciate it. Um, like we're doing this. We're gonna be tomorrow. We're recording this on Sunday night. If you're watching this, listen to us, whatever. We are live on YouTube right now doing this. But we did a live reaction to the Xbox Starfield showcase earlier today. You can go check that out on our YouTube channel. The links are down below with Twitter, Facebook, all that. You can see posts for when all those go up or when we're gonna be live. But you can go check us out on our YouTube channel. Also, we're posting the podcast up on like Apple, Spotify, whatever. So please check us out all those places. But the plan also is for tomorrow. We won't be able to do the Ubisoft forward, or at least I won't be able to. Gables might. We
Right.
don't know. Um, but we should be able to do the Capcom live reaction. That's a little later in the afternoon because
Right.
I won't be home for the Ubisoft one. But if we can't do either, we will at the very least be doing a live YouTube show tomorrow night on Monday night as well. Probably
Yes.
around 8:30, 9 o'clock Pacific time for that, and we'll be breaking down the Ubisoft Forward and the Capcom showcase as well. So, no idea what's gonna be there. Like the Ubisoft one, I believe is completely live on stage, and the Capcom one is like pre-recorded, but I think it's only like 36 minutes, and we don't know what's gonna be there. Other than like I think this is Extra Primal Detective Raincoat. Is that what the game's called? Um,
Something like that. Yeah.
yeah, and there's one other
Plus
one.
Ghost Trick.
What? Ghost Trick. Yeah,
Ghost Trick.
I'm
Yeah.
mixing up games here. I combined two different game titles together. And then there's a third game. I can't remember what they said it's gonna be there as well. But yeah, so that's what's going on. But anyways, we're here, Gables, this week to talk about, or well, this time, this is our third time being together in the last like 48 hours. So
Mm,
this time we were back though to talk about the Xbox and Starfield showcase. Um,
mm.
so we talked about a little bit because we just did the show. We just did the live reaction, and we talked about for a few minutes after at the end there about our overall thoughts. But we've had about 9 hours since the show ended to digest everything. Um, kind of like I don't know, on a 1 through 10 scale. How are you feeling? After about 9 hours to kind of digest that and everything. How you feel about it?
All right. So after having a lot of it sink in, after not just rewatching certain trailers, but also like gauging a lot of different opinions upon the stuff, I still kind of feel like kind of strongly that this is probably one of the better showcases that Microsoft has done. So if I had to go to a scale of 1 to 10, I want to give it like about an 8.5
Okay.
because that's definitely in the realm of like, say, that's just in the realm of comfortableness for me because we did see a lot of like trailers and stuff like that that didn't have like gameplay. There were some aspects to where, especially with Hellblade 2 and stuff, it's like we saw the initial trailer upon it, but yet we still don't know really a concrete gameplay or a concrete date for it. I
Yeah.
mean, hell, the trailer itself was fine. I mean, I loved the trailer, but
So good.
there should have been more to it.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And that was part of the reason why they kind of went down to like say an 8.5 because other than that though, had I not been spoiled upon the Persona 3
Oh yeah.
Reload and the Persona 5 Tactica, yeah, I would have absolutely probably have bumped it up to about a 9 because I love that series. But yet that other game that Atlas went through and put out,
Metaphor.
yeah, Metaphor, that's the code name of this game. That's something entirely different. It's from the same developer as like the the modernized like Persona games from like 3, 4, and 5 and stuff like that. So there's definitely some pedigree there. It's totally different of a series than like say Shin Megami Tensei or like Persona or whatsoever. But yeah, that's just one aspect of it though. But what did you think about it, Tyler?
I'm kind of agreeing with you. I would say I'm going to cheat a little bit here. Um, I would give the Xbox Showcase an 8 out of 10. I
Okay.
would give that Starfield Direct a 10 out of 10.
Oh yeah?
I think they did the best they could do. And I mean, I don't think there was, I really have no flaws with that Starfield Direct. They did nothing. Like, it went on for like 45 minutes. And like we were talking about during, it's like, I don't have like, as a gamer looking at it, like, I have no complaints. Like, all the shit they were showing me was like, I was entertained all the way throughout. I was
Yeah.
like, honestly, the only complaint I have was like, I'm already sold in the game. You don't need to keep selling me on it. You know, it's like, you already talked me into it.
Right,
This game looks
exactly.
awesome. Um, like, is it a game like I'm gonna love and be one of my favorite games of all time? Probably not, because I'm not like a huge Skyrim. Like, I love the fuck out of Fallout 3 in New Vegas back in the day, but like Fallout 4, I played for like 35 hours and fell off of, which I know is ridiculous to say for a game I played 35 hours of. Um, like Skyrim, I played for like 15 hours, and it's just like, this isn't for me. Um, so yeah, like, um, I think I agree with you. Like, they could have shown like the big things that we really wanted to see. I wanted
Hmm.
more of. Like, we didn't really get a lot out of them, but I think the rest of the stuff they showed during the Xbox showcase, um, were awesome. So
Yes, and it also addressed some key concerns though that we've had previously with like past Xbox things to where we saw plenty of first party stuff on top of the slew of third party stuff that is not only like going to be either first time reveals or coming out fairly soon, but also on Game Pass.
yeah, that's something like I spent basically the whole last generation of those consoles complaining about. Is like, on paper, you always look at those Xbox E3 showcases, and it's like, on paper, this is a fantastic showcase, like direct press conference, whatever you want to call it. Like, but it's like, most of the big shit that was shown is stuff I'm going to play elsewhere.
Yep.
And like, a lot of the stuff that they showed, the big stuff that they showed that was going to be exclusive, got canceled, or like just
Yeah.
didn't live up to like Crackdown 3 or something like that. Like, just or was it the Phantom Dust? Just never came to be. Um,
Yep.
the what's that Platinum Dragon game that got canceled?
Scalebound.
Scalebound. Yeah, like, we just seen a lot of that, or like, it's kind of like big games they showed off for years, and then they were just mid tier. Um, but we've been in this place in the last few years where, like, the big complaint about them is like, they've been showing off a lot of the first party stuff, but it's been CGI trailers. They've
Yep.
been delayed constantly, and when they do come out, they're not hitting kind of what, like, kind of the thing. They're not hitting the expectations of what we want. Um, but like, we look at, like, really since I say 2020 on from them, is they had kind of this cheat code with Game Pass. We're like, yeah, we can show a lot of third party stuff, but a lot of third party stuff we're showing is coming to Game Pass. So it's like, yeah, you can
Hmm.
play it elsewhere, but if you just give us $15 a month, you can just play it here day one. And like, that's the cheat code. We're like, we look at that PlayStation Showcase we had last month. Um, like, your third party stuff, indie games, always gonna be part of it. We definitely want to see those things. Like, those are the appetizers. The first party stuff is the main course. And it's like, they showed a lot of stuff at, like, that PlayStation Showcase we had last month was like, the big complaint was like, it was almost all third party stuff.
Yeah.
And like, the first party stuff,
It's a page out of Microsoft's book.
yeah, but like, the first party stuff was like CGI trailers, and the
Yep.
third party stuff is stuff I'm gonna play elsewhere, and it's not coming to PlayStation Plus day and date,
Mm-mm.
and that's kind of like the cheat code that that Xbox has here, where like, yeah, like, all these games, like, okay, so they put a tweet out before this. I wrote down what they put here. So 27 games were shown, 21 coming to Game Pass,
Yep.
13 first party, 12 world premieres.
Yep.
Like, that's the cheat code. Like, I think 2021 they had 30 games shown. I think 27 were coming to Game Pass. Last year, like, they always, like, like, last year was the same thing, but the big issue was everything's coming in the next 12 months, and we didn't go over that again. We know what happened. Um,
Yep.
yeah, yeah. Overall, though, I would say like 8 out of 10 for the Xbox side. Starfield was a 10 out of 10, because it's just, I think that was just perfection of what you want the thing to be. Um, but Gables, let's get into it. Let's break this down one by one. So start
Okay.
off pretty big here. We got Fable. We got like the giant guy. I guess his name is Dave. I think the trailer was incredibly funny. It definitely um, did a good job of like the comedy of Fable. I believe you and I both laughed at the thing multiple times. Um,
Yeah.
but kind of it was like there was no gameplay shown really. It was all in engine they said, but no release date. But we do know it's coming Game Pass day one. How you feeling based off of Fable so far?
So far, I kind of like the whole Monty Python-esque humor about it. I mean,
Yeah,
they definitely retain some of the charm of what made the Fable games like, kind of like what they are and stuff, which is basically it's sort of like a satire of like certain action RPG stuff. But it was kind of weird some bits of that trailer and stuff because you see some of the modernized you see like a modernized dude, just talking to you verbatim about this game and stuff about Fable 2. And on top of that, you get this medieval sense of like, oh, okay, you have a whole bunch of different like characters and stuff, like a medieval garb and stuff and weapons, and like have to face off against these certain creatures and stuff. I think at one point you see this girl or something that's gonna be faced off against this werewolf cinematic and stuff.
yeah,
But it was kind of jarring because you had two different styles. That's what I kind of thought about it. The humor itself I thought was pretty good. I mean, I love that type of like almost like a dry sort of humor in regards to the Monty Python sort of style. Because they'll either hit or miss based upon like your understanding about some bits of the humor of that. But the only different disappointing aspect of it is it wasn't a longer kind of. It wasn't longer, and it didn't show any type of gameplay with it, and plus no release window. At least I wasn't expecting a full-on release date, but at least given like God, maybe 2024, 2025 or something. I mean, it sounds like this is pretty much the start of what direction they want to go to. But yeah, just don't feel comfortable with the overall showcasing of the whole gameplay aspect of it yet. So it must not be solidified.
yeah. I heard they ran like from what I understand they ran into a little bit of development issues, but it's not like oh we're fucked. It's just like um, I don't know. It's basically like just kind of a normal game dev issues that happen throughout development, and they're kind of just
Right,
like in this like stuck in this little rut right now. Um, and I imagine like because so many other games that did show off like got 2024, a few did at least. I'm they probably just assume this is not a you know a 2024 game. I'm guessing this is a 2025 game, which I always kind of assume. Um, but yeah, like I'm not. I don't know, I thought it was. I thought it was at the very least from this trailer. Obviously, it's only a few minute long trailer. Um, if I think the biggest concern really, I mean, not maybe the biggest, but one of the big concerns is like the two biggest thing is like obviously what's the gameplay like, but also is the comedy there. Like you said, the Monty Python. Like
right.
the Fable games are always just inherently funny, and that with that British humor. And I would say so far, based off this trailer, just looking at what we got here, they've at least nailed the humor part of it. So that is like a bit of a relief there. So I came away pretty pretty positive away from it. But yeah, I was like like the one like I said, the one big complaint I have is I want to see what the game is. Everything I've heard about it, it's basically they're like trying to make a Fable game with kind of like inspired by The Witcher 3 in a way. So like a
Right, I can
gigantic
see that.
world, with a big explorable world, um, with with British humor, which sounds in theory sounds fantastic. Um, I do wonder though. You said the werewolf thing, where like we're not here to fight legendary beasts. I'm like, is that like a shot at Witcher 3? Like I kind of thought it was kind of funny if that's the case. But yeah, I enjoyed that trailer quite a bit. Next up here, another Xbox first party game here. South of Midnight. This is Compulsion Games. This is the people that made Contrast and We Happy Few. Um, they not really any gameplay. It was like a CG trailer, but they said it's in engine, so I'm guessing it's like a cutscene from the game. Kind of like almost a claymation style art style. I was saying you have the guy
Hmm.
playing the guitar, and you have this woman looking for a monster, and then like the monster rises up from the water. Um, I love the vibes. Definitely love the music. The kind of old school blues from like like the the 1920s and 30s and shit. I like Robert Johnson. Kind of inspiration there. Once again, no release date. But I don't like. they make some interesting games. Like I think We Happy Few was not like what we all were hoping it would be when they like that was shown off
No.
for quite a while at like Xbox events. And the game kind of we all like realized like when the game came out, it's like oh, it's this weird like live service style game, or like they kind of kept making it like we all thought it was like a Bioshock style game. And
Yeah.
Contrast was like a cool like launch game on PS4. I remember it had the extra life room in there you could find as well. That was really cool. I don't know, like we don't really know what this game is, but I would say at the very least, I am interested in this game, South of Midnight, because of the style. But that's kind of it. What about you, Gables?
That's the same direction that I had with this game. I love the style. I love the aspect of the trailer. The clay. I'm not sure whether it was like a claymation style or whether or not it was like a sort of like a pseudo, sort of like Pixar type of style in terms of the direction of what they were doing, though. But yeah, South of Midnight definitely with the introduction of this game, it oozes the style, from like every strum of like the chord or some of like this dude's like guitar and stuff to like the whole animals and stuff like the rabbits and the rats and stuff being very
Yeah, you had
distinct,
the possum
and
on his
it's like,
shoulder.
oh yeah, the possum on the shoulder and stuff just hissing at you because you're getting too close and all this other stuff. It's like I love that. It definitely feels like a creative take upon like a southern setting on top of who knows what type of a game style this is going to be. I mean, they didn't specify, but from everything that I've seen so far from this introductory trailer, it's gonna sounds like you're gonna basic action game. This is me guessing, speculating, and stuff.
Yeah, with
Maybe like some sort of a bounty hunter sort of style.
yeah, because she has like something on her back that like could be like a bow and arrow, could be a sword, could be some sort of weapon. And yeah, there's a
Yeah,
big giant enemy that comes out of the water at the end of that trailer. So um, it definitely could be. Yeah, you're right. Could be like a more of an action based game, but I don't know. I don't know. I've never really played too many. Like I played I always want to say contrast, but contrast. Um,
yeah,
when I first got my PS4, but I didn't never beat
right.
the game. And like We Happy Few, I just never even bothered checking out. So I don't know. I mean, it's a game. It's keep your eye on type of game, but I'm guessing this is also a ways off as well. So
Right.
we'll have to wait and see. But let's move on here, Gables. Kind of a big surprise here from Ubisoft. This is a massive game. This is the people that make Division.
Right.
We got to see like a cutscene, or not cutscene, but we got a trailer. No gameplay or anything like that for their new game, Star Wars Outlaws. And they did say there's going to be a big gameplay walkthrough tomorrow at
Right.
the Ubisoft event. But it takes place between episode 5 and 6 because you see
Okay, that makes
Han
sense.
in the I want to say is it not Kryptonite? Yeah, Kryptonite. Um, he's frozen in Kryptonite.
Carbonite.
Carbonite. Thank you, Jesus.
Not
Kryptonite.
kryptonite,
Kryptonite is
dude.
Superman.
Carbonite.
Jesus Christ, it's very it's late, people. Like I said, I'm exhausted. Um,
Not even Superman can free Han Solo.
yeah, that'd be oh man, if only would have made things a lot easier. Oh, that's a fight never thought of. Superman versus Darth Vader, who would win? Um, but coming out in 2024, there's been some rumors before that this game could be. Uh, Ubisoft mentioned they have a game unannounced game that was coming out in the first quarter of next year, and there's been a lot of
Right.
some buzz and rumors that potentially Star Wars could be that game, so we could be seeing that in the first few months of next year. Um, but I don't know, like there's no gameplay here. I'm excited for tomorrow
Right.
to see it, and this is stuff I like. I always like to see the synergy that we get from these companies where it's like, hey, we're gonna show this to you here, but check us out on our thing tomorrow for more. And I always like when that happens during like E3 and stuff like that. But from what it looks like here is like we're not playing as Jedi, which is awesome because like I don't need another. Like we already got Star Wars Jedi Survivor and stuff like that. Like I don't need another one of those. Like this is its own different thing. It's gonna be like you're playing as like it looks like a just like you work for, you're in the you're like a Han Solo style. You're not a good person, you're not a bad person, but you're just you're doing jobs to get by. You got a cute little friend with you along the way. Yeah, so far I definitely am. I'm excited actually. I think a little more than I thought I would be for this Star Wars massive entertainment game ever than I
Hmm.
ever thought I would be. So how are you feeling, Gables?
Honestly, it's interesting because this is sort of like a new like style of. it's like almost like a new style of kind of like storytelling inside like the Star Wars like franchise itself. You know, it's something completely different. Definitely like the aspect of something kind of different, deviating from the traditional, more like okay, this is a Jedi versus Sith sort of like stuff. But yeah, the overall cinematic trailer, yeah, it looks interesting in that regards. But I really don't have too much more opinions about it because we didn't see any type of gameplay,
Yeah.
and Star Wars could be either here or there.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely. It's hit or miss. Definitely. Uh, I don't know. I think part of me too is excited because it takes place between episode 5 and 6. So many like so many of the TV shows and the games take place between 3 and 4 typically. So it's kind of exciting. Like I think
Yep.
this might be the furthest out we've ever had a Star Wars video game before,
Hmm.
at least recently. Maybe I don't. Maybe there's some like on the 64 or older that I'm not thinking of, but like most of them definitely take place after the prequels and before the like the original trilogy. So
Right.
next up though, Gables, this game looks really cool. For the people that made Spiritfarer and Jotun, um, they have 33 Immortals. This is a game where you play with 33 people online together, and it's like a top-down action-based game. It's coming
Yeah.
out next year from Thunder Lotus. It's gonna be on Game Pass day one. Uh, yeah, I love the art style. Definitely like Spiritfarer. Like I know that game is extremely popular. It's been installed on my
Right.
PlayStation forever, and it's just like a game that like I heard it's fantastic. It's just I heard could kind of be emotionally devastating, and it's like I need to be in the mindset to play this game. Uh, but definitely I feel a little more motivated to go check that game out finally. But I this might be like one of my favorite games so far, Summer Game Fest. How you feeling about this one?
I'll be honest with you, man. I mean, 33 Immortals definitely looks like an interesting style of game. I mean, I I feel like this is the perfect game for Game Pass.
Mm-hmm.
Why? Because you're going to have a lot of people that are going to be wanting to try this game at launch, and it's going to be a lot of people, which I hope that it's going to be like that type of co-op experience and stuff, to where you can go online and stuff and find like a whole bunch of random people or something to play with while you're in the middle of the game, instead of having to invite like say 32 other friends, if you have like 32 other friends that want to play this game,
Yeah,
just to go forth and like just bullshit around and stuff inside the levels and like try to get all this stuff going. I mean, this absolutely sounds like it could be a fun time, but only if the online stuff is supported decently, and also if the content is engaging enough to warrant people wanting to play through it multiple times.
yeah,
And it also kind of, and one thing that also comes to mind is, if this is the type of game or something, I kind of hope it has more character classes than say like the original thing that we see currently, because part of the like replayability s type of stuff from a game like similar to like say immortal like 33 Immortals or something like that is character class stuff could be equally important to try to replay a particular game, because new styles, new this or that, you don't want to be that game or something that like an open sort of like action game sort of like this and stuff, and like just be one playthrough and done. You want to keep people coming back to want to play more and more
yeah,
and more pretty much.
yeah.
But yeah, it looks pretty good. I want to try that when it comes out next year.
Yeah, like you said, it's a perfect Game Pass game. They did mention about like pick up and raid, um,
Hmm.
and this is a roguelike as well. So I'm curious how that part's gonna work with the roguelike. Like, is it like do you have X amount of lives, or is it like if everybody dies at the same time kind of thing, or um,
Oh,
I don't know. I like it's definitely like I said like this is a perfect game because like the main issue is there's so many like we're not in that in like the 2000s era where like everybody we always played Call of Duty a lot, mainly because like yeah, Call of Duty was a good game, but like we kept going back to Call of Duty because it was like the one game that all of our friends had.
yep,
Now we live in this
absolutely.
era where there's just so many games that it's hard to like convince your friends to buy these games, and like you convince your friend to buy these games, and if you play it a handful of times, that fucking
Absolutely.
sucks. So that's why yeah, like you're right, like this is like a perfect Game Pass game just because you already have Game Pass. It's so much easier. And then yeah, you don't need to have like I'm assuming you don't need to have like even if there's only three of you playing this game together because you don't even have 8 people in the party chat anyways. You just have a bunch of randos join you, and then you have you and a couple friends. Like that's good enough, you know.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Next up though, we had Payday 3. It's a co-op heist game where you're robbing banks and shit. That is coming out September 21st. Also coming to Game Pass day one. So looks pretty cool. I know there's a hardcore audience for Payday. Like I've never been a me game. Like, to be fair, never played it before. But I don't know.
Yeah, same.
The fact that it's coming to Game Pass definitely is like, all right, cool. Like at the very least, I will probably check this game out. But I don't know if it's gonna be a game like I will put a lot. It might be one of those games I play a couple times and then kind of move on from. But I don't know. I'm kind of excited about the idea of like actually jumping into a Payday game. What about you?
Uh, you know what? When it comes to Payday 3 and stuff, it looked all right from what I saw, though. But to be perfectly honest with you, dude, I mean, it takes a certain type of group and also a certain type of like feeling or something like that to actually go forth and try to play games like Payday 3 and stuff
Yeah,
like that. I
definitely gotta
mean,
work
I've never
together.
been really, yeah, the whole teamwork based stuff, trying to find a couple different people to try to, try to help you along with that stuff. I just don't really find it too interesting currently. I mean, never really was my cup of tea.
Yeah, like it's definitely it's like I think it's one of those games that's just we're not that people for. Like, if we saw Jake around, like he'd probably be fucking nerding out about this game, and
Yeah, pretty much.
he's definitely like he was always like he's been around for several years now, but he was always like more the multiplayer guy of the group. So, um,
Mm,
yeah, it's like definitely that's like one thing I think we miss in the group is like we don't have that big like you're the Destiny guy, but we don't have that person that plays all those kind of big games. But there is
yep.
definitely like some of the games that has a hardcore audience behind it, and I'm sure they are incredibly excited. Next up, though, a game called Avowed. We saw this a few years ago, going from Obsidian, which Obsidian quietly we always give like a lot of props to like Insomniac on the PlayStation side for like just pumping out
Yes.
games like crazy over the last like 5 years or so. Where Obsidian just doesn't really get their due. Like since Xbox has bought them, they put out Outer Worlds, Pentiment, and Grounded. Uh, all three really well reviewed games.
True.
And then right now we got Avowed coming out next year, and then also they mentioned they're working on Outer Worlds 2. So, um, so we finally got some like real gameplay of this. Like Outer Worlds is like kind of like their Fallout style game. And Avowed looks like they're kind of like Elder Scroll style game. But from what I've seen of this, like like I mentioned, like never been like a Bethesda game studio person, like a big like I love Fallout 3 because I was like nothing like we ever played before. But like, Skyrim didn't click with me. Like, Fallout 4 kind of fell off of after a while. Um, but I don't know, like I saw the gameplay for this, I see everything from this, and I was blown away. Like I thought this looked really, really cool. Ton of fun. Um, could I come out and it's just like, it's just not what I want. Yeah, definitely. But I am definitely way more intrigued by this than kind of how I felt like I would be, yeah, 12 hours ago. What about you?
Like I said during the live stream that we were going through, this game, like I said at that time, looks like Skyrim, but much more evolved. And man, I gotta admit though, from what Obsidian has done to flesh out Avowed and stuff from the first initial time we did see the release, like the reveal trailer, to the whole gameplay aspect of this thing, this has me wanting to delve into playing this game when it releases. Because, Obsidian, they have made some good RPGs in the past. They were the ones instrumental with making Fallout New
Yep.
Vegas. So this is something I really want to give a shot to because it seems like a fairly colorful, fun like fantasy RPG. I really don't see too many good like Western like RPGs sort of like this.
Yeah.
So I want to give this game a shot when it
Yeah. It
comes
seems
out.
like they never really when they put games out, they don't seem to miss. So, not all of
Right.
them are like I'm not saying they're game of the years, but they're always good quality games. So, like these same people that made my game of the year in 2014, South Park: Stick of Truth. So,
Yep, and that's a fantastic
oh yeah,
RPG as
so
well.
good. Love that game. I've 100% the game twice now. Next up though, another cool, really cool crossover here. Sea of Thieves teaming up with Monkey Island. That is coming out July 20th. Where they go and like they find this like majestical land of of Monkey Island. Uh, I've only ever played like a little bit of like the Secret Monkey Island. They did the remaster on 360 way back in the day.
Yes.
One of those games just not for me. But I mean, I would say like Sea of Thieves is like it's crazy like how popular, how good they made that game over the years. Like the Pirates of the Caribbean stuff, I know people loved it last year. Um, A
Yeah.
lot of people are excited for this one as well, especially with they just put out the new Secret of Monkey Island game last year, um, and it was actually
Yes.
really good. This is all free as well, but I don't know. Like I played Sea of Thieves for the first time last year with a couple of friends, and like man, I was like this is actually a really good game. Like not that I doubted that, but like when I played it by myself, it's like okay, I like this more than I thought I would, but I don't know. It seems like the humor is there. It seems like like the quality is there. Like they're not like this isn't just like
Right.
shoehorning in something. Like they've actually put a lot of time and effort into this. But how you feel about this one, Gables?
I feel this is a perfect collaboration between Sea of Thieves, and like the whole Monkey Island stuff introducing into this whole foray because it makes a lot of sense. Microsoft pretty much owns Double Fine and stuff like that, and then like a whole bunch of like the Monkey Island stuff. So this collaboration is
Oh, I
actually a
forgot.
fairly natural
Yeah,
collaboration
well,
for
because
that.
Double Fine, but did Double Fine make that game?
I don't think Double Fine
No,
made
that
that game. I
was
think there's
well,
something else. I know
Lucasfilms owns the rights to it. Yeah.
Lucasfilms. That's right. Why the fuck was I thinking Double Fine during that time? Um, but anyway, I think there were aspects of people who were inspired by Monkey Island that do
I
work
mean,
in
they're
Double
very
Fine.
similar style games, like the Double Fine games, and
Yeah, yeah,
um,
yeah. But anyway, when it comes to the collaboration itself, I like that idea, but I've never been too much of a Sea of Thieves fan. Never really had too much interest in wanting to try to play it. But I gotta say though, it does look fairly good.
yeah, yeah. It was LucasArts that made the game, but maybe who was it? Tim Schafer was a part of that. Yeah, that's why. Okay, I thought maybe that was right. So
Yeah, Tim Schafer was a part of
which
that, so that's what I
yeah,
was
so you weren't
thinking.
wrong. I was like,
That must be what I
I'm
was
like I
thinking.
made the same conclusion too, but I'm like, well, that's yeah. But yeah, no, yeah, I agree. Like I think it looks kind of cool. I don't know if it's gonna be something I'm actually gonna jump back into, but July once it like every other month is just pretty packed with games, so we'll have to wait and see. Um, but yeah, I can't. I'm excited for people that are super pumped for that game. Um, Next up here, though, Gables, I didn't realize this at the time, and I guess he said it, but I didn't hear him say that. Phil Spencer, that so we had the new thing with Microsoft Flight Simulator with I thought it was like an expansion with like all like you can do the rescue
Right?
stuff and everything. And they showed like the Doom. So the Dune thing is actually we get to play as like the I don't know what it is like the Dragonfly looking ship. Um, so that is coming in November for Microsoft Flight Simulator. But all of like the rescue stuff that they were showing, that is a brand new Microsoft Simulator game called Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024. This is a different game.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I didn't. I guess I didn't realize all that. So it's wow, interesting. I don't know. Like I've talked about. I think I respect this game. I had a good time. I fucked around with it on Game Pass for a while. I've told the story a million times where I flew around. I'm from Des Moines. I flew around, flew over my childhood home, flew over the home my parents live in. I grew up in like when I was a teenager. I flew over my apartment, and then I crashed my plane into my work. So that was kind of like the extent of my gameplay. Like I played like 2 hours of it, and it was kind of fun dicking around. Like I flew some other places. I This game is definitely really cool, really well made. Um, but I don't know, like I don't think I'm gonna be like super pumped to like do to crop dust stuff. Which I love crop dusting, but you know I do a different type of crop dusting. What about you, Gibbles? Tell me how you crop dust.
Oh my gosh, dude! I'll tell you, this definitely is a game that I probably would just give a shot on Game Pass because hey, it's something that's going to be chill in between games I'm already playing. And I'll
Yeah,
be perfectly honest with you,
it's
I'm kind
true.
of having some interest in wanting to try out the Dune stuff. I mean, heck, I'm kind of staring at like a whole entire book set here of Dune that I have conveniently placed around my room. But yeah, this is definitely a fun take right here for Flight Simulator, and do like like you can just go through and like have hot balloon rides and stuff, and like there's a whole bunch of like rescue
Put
missions and stuff,
put out
like
forest fires and stuff.
not forest fire. So it's definitely something entirely different, but it's the type of thing where I need a chill game in between trying to play some games. So if not this, then probably like oh god, that pressure washer simulator,
Power wash simulator. Yeah,
power wash
that game
simulator.
is really good. It just gives me anxiety, so I can't play it. So I
No,
try to get into it.
that's kind of like the opposite with me, dude. Where it's like it's super chill and stuff like that, but I start to have the same type of mind frame thing while I'm actually working and stuff, and like after
Mm-hmm.
about half hour or something like that, I get incredibly tired.
Yeah, okay. I just get incredible anxiety because I'm just like I gotta get like it's like my ADD just kind of kicks in. It's like it just drives me nuts that I can't get the shit
Understood.
clean enough. Um, I will say though, like I did like the show like the tornado, like that would be cool to like fly around and like just get close to tornado, see what happens. Like I
Dude,
don't, yeah,
I think it
go
would
ahead.
be awesome if you could actually fly into the tornado.
That's exactly what I was thinking. I want to do like the thing from Twister. Uh, oh my god, what if you fly into the eye of a tornado and you just see two people using a belt to like hunker down by a pipe
Oh my
to
god.
not get sucked to a tornado? That movie's so stupid. But yeah, I don't know. I thought it was pretty cool. Another game that looks really cool: Senua's Saga Hellblade 2 from Ninja Theory. Um, Hellblade is one of my favorite games of 2017. I thought one of the coolest games of the last generation. I have been pounding the table for this game for over 6 years now. How much I love this game. We see this game now. Well, we had the announcement in 2020, no 2019. We got the gameplay in 2021 with like the giant on the beach. Then we got this. This is more. They said it's more of a. This is actually a cinematic part from the game, where she's like in a cave and you see like these weird likes in the walls, um, dealing with her psychosis and everything like that. Um, I loved all this. Like I'm not concerned about like the story side of this game of like what it's going to be. Um, it's coming. They all said it's coming out 2024. I'm hoping.
Right.
I know some people were thinking this might be a 2023 game. I never really like bought into that. Like it'd be nice if it did. But also part of me is like happy. Like it's crazy. The Gables we're in this time right now where it's like when I see games getting 2024 release windows, it kind of like makes me happy because it's like we were talking before the show. I don't know how I'm gonna play all the games I want to play right now. That's
True.
already like announced, let alone new games to put in there. So this coming out 2024 is nice because a little relief there. Um, but I've never been concerned about like what this game's gonna look like. This game looks gorgeous. This is a game like I almost want to like buy a Series X for, because like the first one was like just a graphical showpiece. Um,
Right.
but I just kind of like I want to know the thing I really was kind of bummed out. I was like, I want to see like what is the thing I'm doing in this game? Like, is it more of Hellblade One, or is this like a much like? Because one of the things that's great about Hellblade is like it's just a small game that you can beat in like 5 hours. Um,
Right.
it's a very it is a you know straight line game. There's no like big open areas and like that. There's like very little like side stuff to like the collectible things. Like it's really like there's a couple collectible things to find. That's about it. Uh, and that's part of the thing I love about the game. I replayed it again last year. Actually, this week I took this week same week off last year. I replayed it during that weekend. Fun fact. But yeah, I just kind of want to know like we've seen like a little bit of the gameplay from a couple of years ago, and it's like, I just want to know like more of that. Like, is this gonna be like a bigger open world thing? Is it gonna be just like a bigger budget version of Hellblade One, which I'd be fine with that. That's the thing I came away from. Like those are the questions I wanted answered, and we didn't get that here. How are you feeling about this
Yeah.
one?
Basically, kind of like what I was stating towards the beginning of this podcast. Where it's like we didn't really see too much like gameplay aspect here in this trailer, but also, yeah, we generally the biggest complaint I have is like we don't know what the hell this game is in terms of the styling. I mean, we saw the cinematics, we saw the whole like delving into like the psychosis here of like Senua and stuff, and like her like just gripping with different types of stuff, like dealing with the voices in her head and like trying to like piece together certain aspects of what she wants to go forth and tackle next. But yeah, I kind of feel like in some aspects this trailer was kind of disappointing because of that type of stuff. But like for the story aspect of it and like the show, the presentation, the music of this, I thought was fairly done. So with Hellblade 2 and stuff, I just want to learn more about the overall game itself. Is it just going to be period by period or something of like what her mind, like what she remembers or something? Or it's just things happening in like real time and then like going going to like specific points and stuff throughout? Is it like a linear type of game are we talking
Yeah,
about? I mean, so many questions yet to be answered from this game, but Unfortunately, I don't think we're gonna learn any more until like around next year.
Yeah, I'm hoping it's like an early game. Like I wonder if we get like another developer direct from Xbox like we had back in, I think was that February we got that.
Right.
Maybe yeah, February was when we got that. Um, so maybe we get another one. Maybe not this year, but early next year as well. Like that'd
Right.
be awesome if we got like one of those like at the beginning, like every year, and then we got to like the big June thing from them. Because I wouldn't be shocked if like I'm hoping that this is like an early like the first half of next year type game, and then they avowed like they're like one of their big like second half of next year game. They did mention though like that they want to get to the point where they're putting out 4 first party games a year, which is not the first time
Right.
they talked about that. They talked about that a few years ago, but I don't know it, if they don't think this is like what we've got avowed and this for next year, so we're off to a decent start if those two can hit. Um,
Yeah, if we do like a four first party games a year stuff, I mean, we've already got like about two so far this year,
yeah, um, yeah, we got like Redfall and Hi-Fi Rush, and then Forza
and then
and
Starfield,
Starfield. Yeah, so there's 4 this year.
that's four.
Uh, that'd be a pretty good year. Obviously, Redfall is what it is, but yeah, and like I imagine a lot of those games they like are gonna be like smaller games too. Like it's not like we might get like when they said about 4, they weren't talking about 4 big AAA games, but like when you look at like we might have like a Pentiment in there and stuff like that. So
Right.
um, yeah, we will have to wait and see on that one. Next up here though, Like a Dragon, Infinite Wealth, coming. I believe this will be the 8th Like a Dragon game slash Yakuza game coming out early 2024. Um, is that is it only on PC and Xbox? Did they mention anything about PlayStation?
Not yet, at least. I mean,
Oh,
it
let me see if
definitely
they.
has not been mentioned. Not even like by the social media stuff for PlayStation stuff. I mean, I didn't see any type of updates.
Yeah, I'm checking out PS5. That was like um. Sorry, what was your thoughts though on this one, Gables?
Okay, so for Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth, I was actually pleasantly surprised that we're getting another game in a Like a Dragon series so soon after the first one. But what's also kind of funny is like it's even from the initial trailer, it holds that direct humor that the first game had, and because of the incredible weirdness of the first, I mean, I'm kind of excited to see what is going to go on next because it seems like the main character here is like inside the United States. So whatever
Yeah,
type of crap he gets himself into here is going to be probably going to be extremely funny. But
yeah.
yeah,
So I did look it up though. It is coming to PlayStation as well. So
okay, good,
um,
good,
this is one of the few games that is coming that was at the showcase that's not coming to the Game Pass day one. But yeah, I love the trailer. It's like it definitely like I mentioned it in the live reaction. It's like it is awesome. They just did the Austin Powers thing, which I don't know, 20 years later, still fucking funny. I thought it was really well done. Um, but yeah, early 2024, it's crazy. Like I've always like liked looking at these games. I always thought that the games like obviously have always had a huge following behind them, and it's kind of crazy. Like really, like a Dragon was the first one. I feel like that was actually like the one that kind of blew up. I would say for like more so, and I think it helped come in the Game Pass and shit too. But
absolutely.
yeah, I think that was like the first time really where I started hearing more people talk about it than like like just like hardcore gamers. But I've never played one before. Um, but yeah, I don't know. I mean, I just need to check one of these out one day. I think Like a Dragon's still on Game Pass, so I just need to at least check it out because but I always just like when I hear about this, it always just seems very overwhelming because these games are fucking huge. So
Hmm.
yeah, but moving on here, Gables. I don't know, not too much to add in this one. Fallout 76, as as is tradition, they announced that there's going to be an Atlantic City um, expansion coming, and that is coming, I believe, in was that July? I think they said for that. Oh shit! I hit the. I'm looking up the trailer right now. I'm gonna try to see if they have a date on it. I don't know, Gables. Like Fallout 76 seems like they've really turned it around. Like, they've definitely turned around over the years from the
Right.
launch. Obviously, that was pretty poorly done, but I don't know. I thought the trailer was nice, like with
Yeah,
the
the
theme
trailer
and
was
everything.
fine.
But
I
like,
mean, nothing too bad about it.
yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Like, it's not something I'm gonna be jumping into at any time. So What about you?
Yeah, it's the same thing with me. I mean, I'm not invested in Fallout 76. It's not my live service game I like to invest time into. So,
Yeah,
but what I would like to talk about is Kunitsu-Gama. Kunitsu-Gami, the
Path
Path
of
of
the
the
Goddess.
Goddess.
Yep.
Yeah, because
Capcom.
that game literally came out of nowhere from Capcom. Seems like to me, it's like Capcom now is making it a foray now, not only to put out some interesting banger games and stuff in recent years, but also putting in some new IP stuff.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, Kunitsukami, in my honest opinion, though, looks like that sort of that artistic, creative style of like a action game, sort of like it kind of has some elements of say like a Dark Souls somewhat,
That's
but
why I
it's
thought it was like
more
a Sekiro, but then we seen the gameplay and I don't know what it is. Like I like looking at it. One of those things like I am intrigued by the visuals of it. Um, but I don't know what we're doing. Like I don't know. Like I almost kind of got like not vibes in like the gameplay, but vibes in like the art style of what's um the Capcom game where you play as a wolf that was like everybody called
oh
like it
my
was a
gosh,
Zelda style game.
it's Okami, Tyler.
Yeah, Kami.
So
Yeah.
Okami, this game feels like a cross between Onimusha and Okami
Oh,
when it
okay.
comes to a lot of the aspects of it. You get the colorfulness of everything, but you got the whole sort of like a Edo Japan sort of style with all these like rad like demons and like grotesque creatures and stuff, from the Japanese folklores and like it definitely is fairly cool looking. How this game is going to play, I'm not sure, but it definitely kind of blends elements of that. Plus, you have some almost like bullet time sort of freezing things like with Bayonetta. But I'm absolutely down with this, dude. I mean, this definitely looks like that type of game where I would probably spend a good couple of hours on launch night, just going through and like playing a bunch of chapters in a row and stuff and try to experiment with different type of like attacks and stuff because I kind of assume you're going to get some sort of like skill tree or getting some sort of like crazy weapons in order to use against enemies and stuff, not to mention what other type of like big bosses are going to go through and introduce. Hopefully it's going to be some interesting style of like bosses instead of something like really generic. Like for this type of game, it's not like out of the realm of possibility to expect like say a bunch of like Tengu sort of like creatures or a bunch of like just major Japanese folklore style of like monsters or something appearing as like big bosses. Say like I was mentioned like bird stuff like Tengu or even like Kappa, like those type of like ducks and stuff like that. But yeah, man, I mean this definitely had a lot of fun, interesting style. But yeah, it just comes to show you though that Capcom, man, they have put out some bangers. It really was like experimented through like with the release of Resident Evil 7, and now from building upon that, we get all these successes are contributing now to new IPs that Capcom is going through and checking out. And I gotta admit though, I'm liking this result. I'm liking this result, and hopefully that Gami here as is actually going to be fairly enjoyable.
Yeah, I mean, like they've been killing it for. I mean, I said during the showcase where it's like I don't know who's done a better job than Capcom. Um, the last like 6+ years now.
Hmm.
Like they've really turned it around. Like we talk about like where like you think back to like Street Fighter Five where they literally had to make the game exclusive on PlayStation because they needed PlayStation to help fund development of that game because they couldn't
Hmm.
afford to put it out. Um, it's crazy where they're at now. And now like they've had like 4 years in a row where they've like had their most successful years. They keep breaking their own records, and they talk about they plan on breaking those records again this upcoming year. And it's like
Nice.
games like this is gonna be those kind of like the kind of games they need to do that. So yeah, like I don't know, like it's coming to Game Pass, so it's definitely gonna be a game like where I'm at least gonna check out. But I still have a lot of I have a lot of questions about this game, like what it is exactly, what
Right.
we're doing. Like yeah, like when we initially saw, it, like is this a Dark Souls game? Like what is this? But the game looks gorgeous. it's a very visually pleasing game. So at the very least, I will have a good time looking at it. So but yeah, let's move on here to something else here. Forza Motorsports coming in October. The date did leak. Um, I think on Friday night we were talking about we didn't want to mention, we didn't want to spoil it for other people, but we were talking about it Friday night before the show
Yep.
when that the about the date. So that makes sense. We got Starfield in September 6th. We got this October 10th. So gives them a good month. And like typically, I think they come out and they always come out actually in the fall, but usually October November timeframe is when they come out. So the game looks gorgeous. It's definitely just a matter of like like it is gonna be the showpiece of the Xbox Series consoles.
Yes.
I talked about like I am. I don't know if this is gonna be like a game like to me it's like a perfect Game Pass game for me because like Forza Horizon is a game like I put like probably good 10 15 hours into, but I was like I had a really good time with this game, put like 15 hours or so into it, and kind of moved on and like because like big race games like that not typically my bag, and like I've been talking about for a while now. We're like I just want like a really good racing game that's not open world, and like maybe this isn't gonna fix that like fill that niche for me because like I don't like the racing sim aspect of it so much. Like I respect I enjoy these games. I respect them for what they are, but like 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 I don't know, just give me Need for Speed Underground. Make me a remake of that game. Like I've been saying that for a long time now, and I will always say that. Um, but yeah, it's definitely gonna be a game I'm gonna check out. I'm gonna probably put a decent chunk of time into when it comes out. But what about you, Gibbles?
I'm in agreement with you, Tyler. I'm kind of tired when it comes to racing games tied with open world stuff. I mean, hell, it's been pretty much done to death by Microsoft now over the past like 5 years or something.
In
They had
EA?
and EA as well, with Burnout Paradise remastered and stuff, and like you had Forza Horizon 3 and like 4 and 5, and like Forza Motorsports and stuff seems like a return to form in regards to its like simulation style of like racing stuff, but at the same time, this is much needed because this is the type of game where you're not going to be spending like about 30 to 50 hours exploring different things like getting sitting like score like billboards racing on different tracks and stuff like that, and that's fine, because they have those
Yeah,
style of games already. But if you just want to go for it and just race without all the bullshit, with some awesome looking cars, I mean, hell, it sounds really good to me.
yeah. I'm excited just to play it. But let's move on here, Gibbles. Persona 5 Tactica. Did we wait? Did we miss Persona 3 as well?
Oh,
We
it's coming
did.
up.
Was it coming up? I'm gonna scroll through here.
Well, hopefully it comes up throughout
No,
here.
yeah, it was not. Okay, I'm going through a list here that has everything, and Persona 3 was not in there. So we have Persona 3 Reloaded,
Yep.
that was shown earlier. We'll talk about that real fast. It's coming in early 2024. Something that was announced later on, though. Gables, you're the Persona guy. I'm not, but they did
Yeah.
mention that the like was it Persona like the expansion stuff they did, kind of like what they did with like Royale and Gold Persona 4 Golden, like the main like one of the characters you play as, she won't be back, and like the expansion stuff will not be a part of the remaster or the remake. And you were saying I sent that tweet to you that they said about it, and you're like, oh, I don't know if I like that. And I've been seeing a lot of kind of a lot of the same idea. A lot of people were pretty upset about the fact that it's basically just the base game of Persona 3 and not all the extra content of the Persona 3. Uh, how you feel about that one?
Well, that's the thing, though. I even remember like things from back in the day that there's some people didn't like the added DLC stuff from like Persona 3 Fest and stuff because it was content that was basically after the game concluded and stuff. But there were some aspects of things that didn't really need to be explained, from what I understand from back then. I mean, granted,
Yeah,
I did not play through the initial like Persona 3 up until that point, but as in regards to content of Persona 3 in general, it kind of has me concerned in that regards because here they are, they're doing a full on remake of the original game, right? And obviously, there's aspects about this game that are going to remain the same, but there's going to be plenty of it that looks like it's going to be updated and changed. The visual thing, first and foremost, kind of reminds me of that of like a Persona 5, where you see all these like stylish sort of like graphics and stuff like that for the menus and all this other stuff. But what's going to be interesting to me and stuff is if they're not going to go forth and have the content, say like a Persona 3 portable, which basically had the female character and the different type of like foray story stuff you can do inside that, and they're not going to have the like the PS2 like DLC stuff that was with the original content game, which delved more in the after game. I kind of am concerned what they're going to go with the initial, what other changes are going to be in this game, like for a fundamental like gameplay style, for like different characters in regards to like say how certain plot points are going to affect their build from the course of the beginning of the game till the end. Is there going to be all these like major like changes inside of like done like the initial part of like that main area they explore Tartarus and stuff up until like the final couple floors or something? It just leads a lot more questions than what initially I feel like doesn't really need to be like shouldn't be a thing I'm thinking about. But now after that trailer and now after that stuff that came out after the announcement of this game, this official announcement of the game, yeah, I'm really interested in seeing what else is going to come into play with answering a lot of the stuff that I have. Because in my personal opinion, it's like I want to play this game. Persona, that Persona series so far, from what I have enjoyed, whether it's been from like parts of 3, completion of 4, completion of 5 Royal and stuff like that, where I definitely am someone that really enjoys the games, but I don't want the original content to be jeopardized because of some needy like nitty-gritty like bullshit or something and inserting some other type of crap to it. So, yeah, yeah, I'm kind of like on the borderline of this right now.
Do you think they do a Persona 3 like reloaded thing where like they do a expansion of the remake of the original like of the expansion?
No, I don't think
Okay.
so. I think
Okay.
this is just going to be a straight out like release and stuff. If anything, if they're going to go work on anything Persona related, it's going to be like a Persona 6.
Okay. Well, the Persona 3 Reloaded is coming early 2024 and it's coming to Game Pass day one. Next up here, though, Persona 5 Tactica. This is coming November 25th and also coming to Game Pass day one. Um, Gables, your obviously game. Persona 5 Royal was your game of the year 2017. Was it or 2020?
It was
2020.
2020, yes.
Yeah, the original game was 2017. I don't know. I mean, from what we see of this one, like how you feel about this?
It seems like a standard like a turn-based strategy game. It doesn't seem that bad. I know when it comes to like the initial look of it, I kind of like the whole like chibi sort of like style of like the characters and everything like that. Also
Very
like the
cute.
idea that if I can enjoy this game on Game Pass day one without having to track down any type of like overpriced physical copies, kind of
Yeah,
like what people are having to do now with the 3DS like versions of Persona Q and Q2.
yeah.
But yeah,
Well, you
this
don't have
is
to pay
fairly
$60 to
interesting.
buy this game at launch either. So
Exactly. I don't have to buy the game at launch either if I don't want to, but this is definitely interesting. I will definitely at least download, give it a shot, see if I'm going to be into it. I mean, strategy games, especially like tactical strategy games, it's either I like it or I don't. I mean, I really enjoy the Fire Emblem series and stuff, but yeah, yeah, this is definitely like worth a run, at least a try, I
yeah,
think.
and I was wrong here. So it says up here in the article I'm looking at November 25th, but then the trailer says November 17th. So it's actually November
Oh,
17th. I don't know why that is. Why it's
that's why
different.
they didn't proofread their shit.
No. But this was like updated live as the thing was happening, so maybe some was just a
Ah,
typo there.
well, it's
Um,
Kotaku.
yeah. Next up though, we got like a Starfield gameplay trailer. We'll talk about it more at the end, but it's kind of like a little
Yeah.
teaser for what to expect. Another game, the next game though, a game that I am super pumped for, a game called I believe Jusant, Jusant,
Yes.
which I thought was kind of interesting. Like you're climbing a mountain and stuff like that. Like I thought the visual arts, the visual style of this game, I thought looked beautiful. I'm like, man, this almost looks like a I was getting like Team Eco vibes. I can't remember the name of the studio now. Uh, since they've left. Oh, Gen Studio. People that make like Last Guardian, Team Eco.
Right.
So that's their new game. Like they're working with Epic on that one. I was like, oh man, is that maybe this is what that is? But it is not. It's surprisingly, don't nod. People like that created like Life is Strange.
Right.
Did, like Vampire. They said a game came out on Thursday called Harmony. Um, they had another game that was shown at Summer Game Fest. I can't remember what it's called. But they put out like a lot of like good games. Not like I'd say like fantastic since like Life is Strange 1 and 2. But a lot of good like solid like sevens. I'd say but this is like the first one I looked at. I'm like, this game looks really good. This is also coming out on Game Pass, coming out in the fall. Um, I love the visual style of it. We don't really know too much of what we're doing in this game. This looks like maybe you crash into like this, like it looks like you see like a ship or a boat or
Hmm.
something of some sort crash into this area, and you're just like almost like you're um, almost like a climbing simulator. I don't know. You have a cute little dude on your shoulder with you, but I don't know. It's one of those games I feel like it's gonna be kind of like in that that limbo style where like there's not gonna be like vocal, but it's gonna be a lot of puzzle solving.
Right.
But like a rock climbing limbo style game is kind of what I'm looking at here. But I don't know how you feeling about this one, Gables.
I think the concept is interesting about it. I mean, the whole exploration and stuff and the terrain stuff, there really isn't too much anything like a combat. So this is definitely like a chill game that's worth a shot, you know? I mean, it's doing a lot of like creative things to where it's kind of getting my mind sort of interested in where I can explore and what I can initially do. So yeah, it kind of tickles that fancy for me.
Yeah, it's definitely very much on my radar now. So I can't wait to check that one out. Another game that I can't wait to check out. Um, we have Still Wakes the Deep. This is from Chinese Room. Like takes place. It's like a first person horror game that you play on like a was like a oil tanker. Um, come out in 2024. This is also coming out on Game Pass day one. There's people that made like everybody to the rapture. Everybody comes to the. I can't remember what it's called. That was like a PlayStation exclusive. It was like a walking simulator game, um, where like you're just walking through and you're figuring out the mystery of what happened in this place. And this
Right.
looks more of that, but there's got some horror elements to it. And I don't know. This game I thought look visually is beautiful. I'm definitely intrigued by the horror of it as well, because typically they make like walking simulator games, so you're not really
Hmm.
ever having to worry about any like dying or anything like happening to you. But I don't know, like early 2024 is what we got here. Like I said, Game Pass day one. But I don't know. This is another game that's on my radar now. What about you?
This gives me a good vibes. This gives me good vibes, obviously. You know what it kind of reminds me of is it kind of reminds me of Outlast in some portions
Oh, okay.
because it's like it's that same type of feel to where you have to pretty much do like a run and hide sort of aspect to
Mm-hmm.
it. I mean, granted, you're not like holding a camera or anything else like that, but the whole initial gameplay of it, the franticness, the pacing of everything, it kind of reminds me that of an Outlast. And just because of that, from looking at the initial trailer again, it's like I kind of want to try it out. I mean, I'm not joking, man. It's like this is the type of stuff that's really cool because you don't have to worry too much about the combat stuff. You just basically try to survive by like going to different set points.
Yeah, can't wait for me to play this game and you laugh at me for being scared. Um,
Oh, that's what I did till over 10 years ago now.
yeah, yeah. It was 2014. We're not that old. We're old, but not that old. Gables. I am the same age of Bowser. Fun fact for you. Nintendo uh, confirmed that Bowser is 34 years old. So wait, am I 34? I legitimately don't know how old I am.
Dude, you had a birthday in
I
May.
did. Am I 34?
Yes, you're 34.
How old are you, Gales?
I'm a year older than
Are you
you.
35? Oh,
Yes.
fuck me. I am 34. Oh my god. I'm not even like this is not a joke. I really forgot how old I
You get to
was.
the point now you don't even remember how old you are.
Maybe I just maybe didn't want to admit to myself I'm 34. Fuck me running, man. I thought I was 33 this whole time. Uh,
Oh.
I'm legitimately depressed right now. We might have to end the show. I have to go. I'm gonna take some.
Oh my
I'm gonna take
god.
some Xannies and go lay down for a while. Um, fuck. Let's move on.
Gotta cut the edge.
Yeah. Jesus Christ. I'm sorry. That really fucked me up. Another game that something else fucked me up here. Dungeons of Hinterberg. Dungeons of
Yeah.
Hinterberg. That sounds about right. Um, I guess this is like an RPG game. It was revealed a while ago, a few years ago. Uh, I don't know too much about it, like as far as like the developers of it. But it is like I love the visual style of it. It's an indie game. This is also coming Game Pass day one in 2024. But like you are like a girl. It's like, she's like riding like her sword, almost like Zelda, like rides his shield. Um, like kind of like a behind the back third person combat.
Mm.
It says
Mm.
new day, new dungeon. So it looks like maybe like you're going through the dungeons. You're right. You're grinding some rails, exploring some. You open some treasure chests. But I don't know. I think the game, like, oh, you solve some puzzles as well. I don't know. I think the game looks pretty fun. It's just a matter of like, but I mean, it's one of those things where like, I don't know. Like, problem is like we see a lot of these type of games come out, in the indie world, and then like the big, the bigger game world. It's just a matter of like, what's your twist? What's the thing that kind of like gets us in? And I'd say the art style, and then grinding some rails. Uh, uh, yeah, might be the cool twist that gets me interested in this game. What about you, Gables?
Honestly, has a lot of action, has a lot of interesting elements to it, and kind of reminds me of Legend of Zelda at some
Oh
points.
yeah, I can see that. Yeah, yeah,
But uh, but at the same point, it definitely is interesting enough to give it a shot when it comes out on Game Pass.
yeah, yeah. Looks it's got some chill vibes to it at the same time as well. So could be fun. Next up though, Keanu Reeves showed up. It was breathtaking as always. Um, talked about we have Phantom Liberty, the expansion from Cyberpunk 2077. Johnny Silverhand is back. We have Idris Elba. He's playing Agent Solomon Reed, and like you're like trying to like I think you're rescuing the president of the new United States. That's coming September 26th, and it's gonna be $30. So no idea how big it's gonna be. You're going to a new area as well. I think it's like Dogland. I think is what it's called. Um, I don't
Mm,
know. I mean, it looks as good as ever. I think it's gonna be very much so of like if you were into Cyberpunk after all of the issues it had, but like like if you played it, you enjoyed it, and liked it for what it was, you're
yeah.
totally in for this. It definitely sucks for like every time I look at this game, it's like man, I really want to play this game, and then I play this game, and I'm like, man, it's fine. Like I don't have any like major issue with the game. Like I just didn't vibe with it. It bums me out because this is like a game that, like I should love, and yeah, it just never hit for me. What about you, Gibbles?
I'm actually looking forward to this. I'm looking forward to this not only from the expansion standpoint, but I'm also interested in seeing the reactions of people when this expansion does come out, because Cyberpunk 2077, I mean, I have that game. I have it digitally downloaded on my PS5 now because I still have my original PS4 disc that I didn't
Oh
return.
yeah.
So I'm like, I am interested. I'm still interested in doing a playthrough of Cyberpunk 2077, but I've been waiting for this like a DLC like the Phantom Liberty one because I really kind of excited to just have more content to delve upon and stuff while I'm going through my initial playthrough. Since, I just don't like it whenever like I go and I finish a major RPG stuff and then like a major expansion content comes out
Mm.
like about a year or two later afterwards and I have to try to play through the initial game again and try to learn the control
Yeah,
styles and
it's always hard
those
when
builds.
games like put out DLC, like a year
Yeah.
or so later. It's like, how the fuck did I play this game again?
And this is purposely why I waited so long and stuff after the release of Cyberpunk 2077. I basically waited for a bunch of patches. I'm basically waiting for this expansion stuff right there because I want to play this game whole in one go. I don't want to break up anything.
Yeah. It does sound like maybe it's taking place like this will take place like inside the story, so it's not like, post the game. It's gonna be like taking place during the game as
Right.
well. So, um, yeah, I mean, there's a lot of people like super excited for that one, I'm sure. So, and you know, um, CD Projekt Red has always done a great job of like putting out good quality, huge expansions. So, I'm sure that's gonna be
Mm.
more of the same from them. City Skylines 2 is coming October 24th. It's coming out on Game Pass day one as well. I don't have too much add on the Gables. I am not like a city builder guy. What about you?
Unfortunately, I'm not either.
Yeah,
They kind of bore me.
yeah, like it's not for me. And but for people out there that are excited for it, good for you. And I hope it's exactly what we want it to be. But game though, I do believe is for Gables here. Metaphor,
Mm.
re Fontazio, fuck it, it's Metaphor. Uh,
Well, I'll be perfectly honest with you, man. I mean, I look at this and stuff, and the whole naming of it. I mean, it's a crazy ass name
yeah,
because, well, why not?
yeah,
Metaphor, Refantazio. That's what I'm gonna say it. That's what I'm gonna pronounce it anyway.
yeah,
But this is the new type of game and stuff released that's going to be released here by Atlas. I gotta admit, though, I mean, they've incorporated a couple different aspects of the series that this thing is like a spin-off series of, for like Shin Megami Tensei and like freaking Persona and all this other stuff. It's pretty much being developed by the same person that's done Persona 3, 4, and 5. So there is definitely a lot of hype surrounding like the development of this game in particular, but I will say the look, the visual style of it is really stunning. I mean, I love the aspect of like the terrain, like the going like through the whole initial city stuff that you do see, like the menus and everything else look like it's all crazy as crap. The gameplay from what we have seen in this trailer looks like it's a interesting style of like turn-based RPG stuff, which hey, that's not bad in my honest opinion, but the story stuff is going to be kind of balls to the wall crazy from what it looks like to me.
Yeah,
Because yeah, sometimes they can be relatively enjoyable because even for the absolute craziest type of storytelling and stuff, there's like a semblance of like what type of a story it is, that ties together all the craziness into like one cohesive thing. So it's going to be interesting to see more about Metaphor, this game, like possibly next year or something,
yeah,
because I want to know even more about this because this looks fantastic and there's just a lot we don't know yet of this game since it was just revealed today. That was one of the other games. That was just one of those games from Alice that didn't leak.
yeah, yeah. Of the three, honestly, this might be the coolest one that of like if there's one that didn't get leaked,
Mm,
this might be the best one that didn't get leaked.
yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, this is coming to scheduled for 2024, and it's coming to Game Pass on day one. So
That's
yeah,
awesome.
definitely. Like I'm not a Persona guy whatsoever. But it's definitely like I look at the game. I love the visuals of it once again. But man, the games are just they're just too big, Gables. Uh,
If there's one thing we could say about Microsoft from this past like showcase, Steely, is their support for Japanese games
yeah,
is definitely just strong here. I mean, they have the first reveal of like a new IP from like Atlas right here, just front and center and stuff alongside the Persona news
yeah.
first.
And then last year they had the Persona stuff for 3, 4, and 5. Um, I
Yep.
mean we for 20 years they've been trying to get into the Japanese market and have like kind of felt half-ass and like there's a decent attempt at the beginning of the 360 era with like Lost Odyssey and Blue Dragon and then like what was that Tales of Vesperia? Not Vesperia. Yeah,
Well,
Vesperia
there's Tales of Vesperia and
and,
stuff. You have Lost
and
Odyssey.
Eternal
You have like
Sonata.
Blue Dragon, and, like that
Yeah,
stuff,
Eternal
and then
Sonata. Yeah,
Infinite Discovery
yeah,
or something
Jesus
like
Christ,
that.
one of the worst names of all time. Square Enix classic
Yeah.
name. Yeah, so like we had that little rush there in the beginning of that era, but like we haven't really seen them attempt it really much since then. And like we've seen like Phil Spencer really push for that hard this generation. We got like Hideo Kojima making a game for them in the cloud. We've definitely seen the Atlas stuff here the last couple of years. I'm sure there's a couple other ones I'm forgetting as well, but yeah,
Right.
I mean it's exciting news for a lot of people, and especially even better when these games are coming to Game Pass day one. Um, Another game here is shown, Towerborn. This is from the Banner Saga people. Kind of looks like a side scroller action RPG game that is coming in 2024. Also coming to Game Pass. It is a co-op game, so you can play with your friends online. But I don't know. I think the game looks great. Banner Saga games are like um, people love those games. Like I've heard all
Hmm.
kinds of. It's definitely a game that I've always wanted to check out, but I don't know. There's three. They're like all three are out now, and they're pretty decent sized games. So it's like one of those games where it's like, that probably never will happen because of how much time it's going to take to do all of them. But I don't know. I like looking at it. It kind of gave me like almost like that Castle Crashers type of vibe.
Right.
Um, so I don't know. I thought the game looked like it could be fun. What about you?
I don't know, man. I mean, the overall like visual things look all right and stuff, but it kind of looks sort of generic to me for some reason. I mean, I can't
Okay.
really put my finger on it though, but it just feels like a lot of the character. It just seems like some of the character models kind of seem lifeless in some aspects of it. The gameplay stuff kind of looks sort of repetitive in some aspects, but
Okay.
that's just me though. I mean, there's obviously more to this game that meets the eye, but yeah, maybe there's going to be something I'll see in the future that may change my mind.
Yeah, I just think it's got a good pedigree behind it with the Banner Saga people,
Well,
but it's
yeah,
kind of
yeah,
different from anything I've ever made before. So I'm curious, like, those other games were like pretty story based heavy, and I don't know, we've never really seen them. Maybe they can have a good quality story behind it with some, you know,
right.
pretty good gameplay, and I don't know. It's definitely now once again, it's a game that's on my radar. So next up though. I think this is like the last game they showed off actually. Yeah, this is the NXL people. Clockwork Revolution.
Hmm.
We were talking about kind of gave us like Bioshock Infinite vibes. And I was kind of reading online afterwards, and basically everybody felt the exact same way, which it's kind of
Absolutely.
it's kind of
It's
crazy. Like
funny.
this game looks really cool. But there was no release window or date or anything like that. So I imagine this is like a game that we're not gonna see for a couple of years, most at least. But I don't know. It looks fantastic. The gameplay looks really cool. The
Yep.
steampunk art style is pretty cool looking. Um, it's so crazy. I mentioned this during the live reaction part where I was like, man, it's been like really a decade since like anybody's really attempted, or if we've had like at least I can remember. Maybe there's just some I just don't remember that came out like a Bioshock style game. Like we had
Right.
Atomic Heart earlier this year that kind of went for that. That was just I thought was fine. Uh, but yeah, this game is probably a couple years away, and I'm like, fuck, we got uh, Judas, which is the Ken Levine game, who's the creator of Bioshock. He has this game
Right.
coming out in like 2025, 2026. There is a Bioshock game in development that's probably going to be coming out in around that same in a few years as
Yep.
well. And then there's this game, Clockwork Revolution, that's probably going to be coming out. So it's almost like, man, it's been over a decade since we've had a Bioshock style game. It's great that we're finally seeing some here. But then it's like we're just seeing a bunch of them at the same time. It's kind of like how we was like end of last year, early this year, where it's like we had Callisto Protocol.
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, all right, cool. All right, so I paused the recording, but we're all right. We got disconnected there for a minute. Um, but all right, you ready to go again?
Yep.
All right. All right, and we are back. Sorry, we had a slight issue there with Skype, but we're back. But anyways, yeah, Clockwork Revolution. Like I was saying, like we had that. We just haven't had anything like Bioshock in a long time. But it's like same thing with like the survival horror third-person shooter games. And we got three in like
Right.
4 months earlier this year. So I feel like in 2025, 2026, we might be seeing that again with Bioshock style games. Uh, but I don't know how you feel about Clockwork Revolution, Gables.
What I'm thinking of predominantly is like, what's this game going to be doing that's going to be radically different than, say, like Bioshock Infinite? Because for a game to go forth, yeah, I'm here.
All right. So I think it's on my end here. Let's just give it. I paused the recording. We're streaming still on YouTube,
Yeah.
but we're just gonna give it a minute and see if my internet
Okay.
kind of holds up for a minute or so here. I think yeah, it looks like it's on my end here because I'm getting disconnected. So I don't know what's going on with my internet. Hopefully, just need it to hold.
Um, what we can do though is like we maybe a little approve though if you close out of what you got going for your web page stuff because I think maybe the video stuff could be playing a part of the connection. You think?
Yeah, I paused the video. Um, yeah, I guess all we have is the Xbox, the Series S thing, and yeah,
And then the Starfield stuff.
yeah. So I can just get it right. I can just close out of that here. So all right, so close out of that. Um, okay, so yeah, all right, let's do that. But I think we're good. So you ready to start up again, buddy?
Yep.
All right. All right, and we're going. We are live again here. Sorry, people, we were having some Skype issues on my end, but should be good overall. Gables, we'll try this again. How you feel about Clockwork Revolution?
Okay, like I was stating, I'm looking forward to mostly what's going to be different than, say, what they're initially aiming for, which is Bioshock Infinite, but with time travel,
Yeah,
essentially. But yeah, that's pretty much kind of what I've been looking for here. It's like I understand what they're trying to do to try to differentiate themselves so far from what they're seeing is, oh, you get to change certain elements of the past and do this and do that and stuff like that. But seeing what's different than, say, Bioshock Infinite is going to be the main apparent feel of it. But otherwise, everything else looks all right with this game trailer.
yeah. I got definitely. I like the gameplay of it. I like what we've seen of it. At least I like the style of it. I don't know too much about what NXile has been doing. To be fair, though, so that I mean, I don't know the history of their games off the top of my head. So, but yeah, looks pretty cool so far. That was kind of like the last major game they showed from the Xbox thing. That they did end with the Xbox Series S. We did see the new black version of it It's gonna have a 1 terabyte hard drive. It'll be $350. So $50 difference there if you want the black one, the black Xbox Series S with the terabyte hard drive. So about double what we get. Like you and I, we both have the Series S, which I believe is 512. But I don't know. I'm pretty good with my hard drive. Where like I think it helps too. Where like the Xbox is not my console, like my main console. Usually I have like the PS5. So like you and I are in the
Hmm.
same boat there. Where like we play most of our big third party stuff and on the PS5, and then it's like the Game
Yep.
Pass stuff and the first party stuff for Xbox is where we go there. So for me, it's always
Right.
pretty easy to keep the hard drive fairly clear. And we also seen they are like they lowered the price of the Seagate uh, uh, memory cards that you can buy, so they're a lot more affordable
Right.
now. I think it's like $90 for an extra terabyte, which isn't terrible. Um, I don't know. Looks pretty sweet. Looks I like the style of it. It's kind of open like maybe they do like a fucking like all right now we have a white Series X, but that did not happen.
Yeah, you know what? This is pretty much like kind of like their whole aspect of not only just having like a different color for their Series S model and stuff, but it's got more space in it, so that way they'll have that one as another alternative as opposed to just getting the $300 version of like the Series S that's white that it's like 500 gigs, you know.
Hmm.
Or maybe they're just phasing out the white one in general. I mean, we don't know
Yeah,
really at this point. That could be the new starting point and stuff. I mean, I would have to suspect though that people would more aim towards the type of models and stuff with just a terabyte, you know, because it makes sense, right? Yeah, the Series S that's like being sold there, the carbon black thing for 350, 1 terabyte. Then you have the Series X that has that whole 1 terabyte aspect to it and stuff, but it has more power and much more like it supports the physical disk stuff for backwards compatibility
yeah,
stuff too. So yeah, you have two different models here. I mean, I pretty much don't see any reason why that wouldn't be the case personally, but just me.
yeah. I didn't think about that before. That's a good point though. Like maybe they're phasing out, kind of like we see with like with the Nintendo Switch, where they've kind of sort of phased out the base model, and now it's either you get
Yep.
the light or you get the OLED. It's kind of the two options. So yeah, maybe that's kind of where they're slowly going to go over time with that thing. Um, yeah, but last but not least, though, Gables, we got the Starfield Direct, is where we moved on to. 45 minutes
Hmm.
of Starfield talk. Showed off. We got a bunch of gameplay. Talked about like there's over like I think 10,000 worlds you can go to. It's all like seems like it's all like randomly generated content
Right.
there. Talk about like showing you like kind of how you can like move quickly between solar systems and stuff like that. It's all taking place in the galaxy. We didn't see Earth, but we saw like Mars, Alpha Centauri, which I believe is, if I remember correctly, that is the closest solar system to where we're at right now. But it's like I think it's like a 3 light years away. So it
Right.
would take us like 1,000 years to get there currently. Um, but yeah, we got to see some bunch of gameplay. Showed off a lot of the shipbuilding. Then you can build your own towns in there. Showed off a lot of kind of an idea of what the main story stuff is going to be. Like a lot of the characters you're going to meet throughout. Some of the main towns you're going to go to. But I don't know, like kind of how are you feeling coming out of like this big Starfield showcase, Gables?
I am definitely now invested in wanting to play this game at launch because not only did the reveal of, say, the customization stuff that they're implementing the stuff kind of made me more excited about it because not just customizing your character, but every bit of your ship you can go forth and create, which could be like some sort of crazy ass sort of creations that you can make. I think at one point I saw one of the developers make a big old freaking spaceship that was like of a platypus and stuff and
Yeah,
going
the
across in
HMS like
space
HSS or HMS platypus.
like
They had
HSS Platypus or something like that.
yeah
And at one point, I saw literally one of the developers create like the Power Rangers like Megazord inside their tank mode, the original Megazord tank mode, which that one got me just going because that was hilarious. But another portion of it is like I liking like how the combat is inside of this game.
yeah.
It's definitely apparent that it helped in that department because even if at least what you were saying, Tyler, when during the stream, even if it's like say a B tier style of like shooting thing, it would be definitely an improvement upon what Bethesda has done with like shooters before.
Yeah, yeah. It's like kind of what I said was like, um, like if Doom is like S tier shooter,
Hmm.
if this is like B tier Doom shooter, like that would be fantastic. I would take C plus tier, Doom shooter, because yeah, like I said, like really the Fallout games, like the shooting is just not good at all. Like the
Right.
ones they literally had to build the VAT system to make it playable. So, which I know is like that's not the main point of the game, but it is a big part of the game depending on how you play it. So, um, yeah, I loved a lot of it. Like I said, like the combat looks fantastic for what it is. Like I think like, if we're gonna spend a lot of time doing it, like I like for it to at least be good quality. We didn't see
Absolutely.
anything. They didn't show any like VAT style stuff that I remember. So that's interesting. That wasn't shown there. Like I said at the top of the show though, like this is I don't know if they could have done a better job of showing off this game. I think kind of like how big the scope is of this game, the combat, kind of what you're doing, the shipbuilding, the like you building your towns, uh, the amount of different worlds you can go to. Like, it seems like a lot of it. Just for me, it's almost like I look at like this is definitely gonna be a game I'm gonna jump into and check out. Especially, I mean, it helps it's gonna be on Game Pass day one, obviously. But it's like I look at this, I'm like, fuck, man. Like, um, I wouldn't be shocked though. Like for me, or like this is a personal thing. Like I could put 20 hours in this game and bounce off, or I'll spend fucking 80 hours in this game and get like, which I know if 80 hours in this game isn't a lot to a lot of people, but for me that's a lot of hours for a single game, and I could definitely see like I think that's kind of where I'm gonna be. I'm gonna spend like 20 hours into it. Like I respect what this game is, it's just not for me. Or I'm gonna spend 80 hours in this game. Like this is one of the best games I've ever played.
Right. Exactly the point.
Yeah, um, but yeah, I it was so funny. Like we spent 45 minutes on this thing. It's like at no point was I like, okay, like I'm tired of seeing this thing. I was like, we were watching this. I'm like, man, like they can just kind of keep showing me shit, and like it was like simultaneously like you don't need to show me anymore. Like I'm sold, and also like you can just keep showing me shit for another hour, and I don't think I'd be bored.
Right.
It is wild. Like I was stunned by just how um, good I felt coming away from that thing. Um,
Right.
like this is probably the most confident that we felt about an Xbox game,
Yes.
and I don't remember how long because usually like in the gaming world, for at least for us, I feel like a lot of time, like and sometimes we get fooled. Sometimes games come out we don't think are gonna be much, and then they blow up and they're way better than we ever thought they could be. But I
Hmm.
feel for the most part, when like games are coming out, we could kind of tell how they're feeling about this game, whether like how good this game is gonna be. Uh, especially as we get closer to the game coming out. Like we look at like PlayStation sometimes where like the reviews come out like 2 weeks before the game comes out, and it's like, oh
Right.
man, they're feeling like when they're putting out reviews for a game a week plus out, like they must be feeling pretty great about it. But then we look at like Redfall, where like we start hearing rumors of like the game's coming out on Tuesday, but the review codes went out on Friday, and the review embargo is the same time the
Hmm.
game launches. Oh, shit like that. Like you can definitely like feel when someone's not feeling positive about a game. And I would say for what we saw here, this is the first game they put out since Fallout 4 in 2014. They are feeling like they've nailed it.
Right.
Yeah. But I don't have too much more to add. Like I think the game looks fantastic, and it's like, I 24 hours ago, 12 hours ago, I would like look at Tears of Kingdom. I'm like, there's no competition this year for like at the Game Awards. I think for most people for Game of the Year. And then I see this 45-minute direct, and I'm like, all right, there's some real competition this year. Like,
There's a legitimate shot that this game could be competing with Tears of the Kingdom for Game of the Year this year.
yeah, yeah. So, yeah, fantastic showing. Um, Anything else you want to add on Starfield though, Gables?
No, I'm good.
Okay. Um, yeah, I like I said at the top of the show, like I'm an 8 out of 10 on on the Xbox side, 10 out of 10 on the Starfield side. Um, love the show. Like we talked about before, like during going into the with the live reactions, like going into like right before the show started, was like this was the first time in really over a decade where like Xbox can do a full counterpunch on PlayStation, and actually gain some ground on them. Um,
Right.
and do I feel like it was like a full on fucking knock them out? No, but they landed a really good blow on PlayStation where I feel like this was like the first time where like I look at like they could gain some ground on them, because it's what we've seen that ever since 2013 it's just they built PlayStation blew them out of the water with that conference, and they've just been obviously they've been putting out good quality games since then, but it's just like even when the Xbox has been doing some good shit, they just couldn't catch up to PlayStation. This is the first time where I feel like I'm not saying it's gonna turn the tides, but like they can really, but they're gonna catch up a little bit. I feel like in this one, like I feel like the vibes are good on this one, but I also want to remember, I do want to remind myself and everybody out there listening, is this is the exact same way we felt last year when they did that whole all this is coming in the next 12 months, and then look at
Yep.
us now, where it's like like when they're talking about Avowed next year, they're talking about Hellblade next year, all these other games that are coming to Game Pass day one next year, over the next year, this year and the next year, and it's like we could very easily be doing the same thing right now that we were doing a couple months ago. I was like, man, they really
Yep.
fucked that. Like they did not nail that whatsoever. And games start getting delayed. Shit happens. Obviously, take your time. Shit happens. But it's like, man, like I feel like you're gonna start putting some dates like on stuff, even if it's like a year. You gotta be feeling pretty confident. I feel like when they're like we're looking at like Fable and Clockwork Revolution and shit like that, and they're not even giving us years. They're like, okay, we want to make sure like, it makes me like more confident that like Avowed and Hellblade will be next year, because if they're not willing to
Right.
put dates on those, maybe they're like, oh, we're not even gonna bother attempting to do that, because we want to make sure like we know for a fact when we say a date or give it a year, like that's gonna hit that timeline. So yeah, I don't know. Maybe that's just me being an optimist. But yeah, overall, really great show. Anything you want to add though, Gables, before we get out of here?
No. No, I'm good.
Okay. Well, guys, thank you guys so much for watching. Sorry for the technical difficulties we had there towards the end. But we will be back tomorrow. We're going to be doing the live reaction. The plan is to do a live reaction to the Capcom showcase. We'll not be able, most likely, to do the Ubisoft one if things change. I will post about that. So make sure you check us out on Twitter, where we will be doing updates. Also at Podcast, Spotify, YouTube, all those places. Like, follow, subscribe, tell your friends, all that. And then we'll be back tomorrow night as well, reviewing and breaking down the Ubisoft Forward and the Capcom Showcase as well. So keep an eye out on your podcast feeds and on YouTube for that as well. But I was your host, I was Tyler.
And I have been Colonel Gables. So until next time, everyone, play some fun games. But thank you for listening to another fun-filled episode of the Drunk Nerds podcast.
Thank you, Gables.
Yeah.
And the immortal words of the Iron Sheik, fuck Hulk Hogan.
And fuck Hulk Hogan indeed.
Bye, guys.